Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. We made it through another week, the partial first week of July, and we're ready for the heat of the summer, I'm hoping. Ready to survive the heat of the summer. This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee, a father and daughter news podcast where we look at our stories right before the show starts. We just got caffeine in our body and we're going to read and speak live on stream. Also realized my microphone's over here. There we go. Let's get into our Friday news dump headlines so you don't have to worry about it, and spin that segue wheel. Today on Friday's news dump. 8 arrested in probe into men drugging and raping partners, UK crime agency says. And a different probe finds former MEP who was investigating Pegasus was hacked by Pegasus.
What? Greetings on Friday from the United States. A large and growing parasitic infection is reported in 17 states. Plus, Weird Al has seen your weird AI jokes and he's unamused. He doesn't like AI.
Prince Harry hopes to bring his children to UK next week for first time in years. And thousands of air conditioners are being delivered to APHP hospitals in Paris.
And updating our hot planet, the Swiss glaciers rapidly losing protective snow and punishing European heatwave. And that clown Todd Blanche, who's the acting attorney general, has a decision to make on the Epstein files as a judge orders them turned over, exposed.
In my culture news, Parales, the creative life simulator game that could rival The Sims. Something to play this weekend, maybe.
It's National Compliment Your Mirror Day. So get out there and have a fantastic Friday, you handsome devil. It is July the 3rd, 2026 on Before Coffee. All I gotta do is sit here now.
Sit here and read, mostly. And look at yourself in the mirror. Or compliment your mirror, I guess.
Yeah, I don't have a mirror. I get this camera, but it's not really a mirror, because the mirror flips you.
Yeah, you can set it up to not do that, but then you get really confused.
I like that. I don't like mirror images myself.
Yeah, you look weird. That's true. It's like, Who is that? That's not me.
No, actually, I look like that. That's the only way you see yourself. Mirrored, that's why I don't like them.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Mirrored images are actually not you.
Right.
When you take a picture and you flip it is when what you really look like to everyone else. Our first segue
that's
is
why
associate.
I don't understand why people do that. People do it on the internet and they leave it that way. It's like, that's backwards. Associate.
Our first story is some serious news. My first section is all serious news about the world. The first one is, there was actually a news story about this, I think I saw on Tuesday, but it was Tuesday, so I don't want to talk about it, where a bunch of countries in Europe are looking into these wide global men drugging their partners and, selling them or filming it and posting it places, which is illegal. And a bunch of countries are now not arresting, I shouldn't say, but they're filing criminal investigations against these websites that are doing that. They're also finding the people who are actually doing the crimes. So this is from the UK specifically, by Gavin Blackburn on Euronews. The UK's National Crime Agency, NCA, said yesterday on the 2nd of July that 8 people had been arrested as part of a probe into an international network of men drugging and sexually abusing women they know. The NCA, which looks into international crime, said it had uncovered a global network of predominantly men suspected of offenses known as organized drug facilitated sexual assault, after a 2025 tip-off by German journalists about a platform used to facilitate them. The crime agency found a truly international network with group members identified in dozens of countries spanning every continent. Even Antarctica? Probably not Antarctica. I hope not. There's only like 10 people there. This is from NC Deputy Director Nigel Leary. As a result of the NCA probe into the online platform, which was not named because they don't want more people going to that platform and giving them money, 8 people in the UK have been arrested. There are a total of 14 separate investigations ongoing in the UK and abroad just about this problem. This societal problem is what I call it. This global societal problem. The NCA said it had identified over 270 individuals linked to the forum and its offshoots. Drug-facilitated sexual assault is no longer an isolated behavior, but increasingly organized, said Leary, adding that it was being enabled by digital platforms. I can make money off of doing this? Let me go serial date 20 different women so I can post them all on the platform and make money off of it. Deeply concerning indeed. It is deeply concerning. It's extremely concerning is what I would say. The scale of what we have seen so far is deeply concerning, Leary told journalists at a briefing, adding that such crimes are often undetected and underreported. Well, first of all, if you're roofied, all you know is that you got roofied, and you don't know they're posting it on some roofie.us website or something, because the victim may not remember the abuse as a result of being sedated. It is a serious and evolving threat rooted in domestic abuse, said Helen Millichap, Director of the National Center of Violence Against Women, Girls, and Public Protection. The online and connected nature of the abuse means that the dimensions are changing, Millichap added. Multiple investigations into such organized drugging and sexual offenses are underway in the UK. In Stockport, Manchester, in the northwest, the husband of a woman who was allegedly drugged and sexually assaulted is set to stand trial in September alongside 12 other men accused of taking part in the sexual abuse. Last week, investigators from Brazil, Canada, France, Hungary, the Netherlands, Spain, the United States, and Europol met in London to share information on the possible cases, said the NCA. It's seriously a global issue. As part of the separate operation into such offenses, EU law enforcement agency Europol said that the group of countries had identified 156 victims and perpetrators of drug-facilitated sexual assaults, DFSA, and that's probably just a drop in the bucket. The operation focused on DFSA primarily in intimate partner settings. So people who are already dating each other are married, and then they completely betray their trust, particularly in context of misogynist online communities. Europol said in a statement about its Project Medusa probe. The global operation has found a new misogynist online communities, Europol said. The alleged offenses in the UK are reminiscent of high-profile case of French woman, was that last year or the year before, Giselle Pellicotte, who was drugged and raped by her then husband and by strangers for nearly a decade. Since the 2025 trial and conviction of her ex-husband Dominique Pellicotte, similar cases have come to light across Europe, from Germany to the Netherlands. Which is the only good thing about this, because that's the whole reason Giselle even took the case public. A lot of people who go through this, and it's unfortunately very common, they keep it, secret. But she wanted to be very public about it and say, my husband sold me like a pimp sells a prostitute to people. And I want everyone to know about this, especially people who might be going through the same thing. So they know, and this is her word, right? She said she wanted it to be very public, so other people out there would know that they're not alone in being treated this terrible way by somebody who's supposed to, be the most trustworthy person in your life. But there is the big news for anybody who was wondering about that. They are, at least 14 countries are looking into finding all the bastards. Don't know if you associate that with anything.
I associate this is why we can't have nice stuff. I guess that's all I got to say. Mm-hmm. We can't have nice stuff because of scumbags. They ruin everything. Non-specific.
Indeed. Let me do this one. My next story is Anto Annetta Rusi on Politico is reporting on an investigation and person who was doing an investigation and they got hacked by the thing they're investigating.
Whoa!
This is coming out of Brussels. Former member of the European Parliament, Stelios Kouloglou, was repeatedly hacked with Pegasus spyware while serving on the Parliament's committee investigating the spyware abuses, according to a new forensic investigation. Now he's a witness. He is now a witness to the abuses of Pegasus spyware. Because he couldn't even investigate them without getting hacked. The revelation raises fresh questions about whether the work of the inquiry itself was compromised. Researchers from Toronto University's Citizen Lab found that Koulouglou's phone was infected at least twice, on October 21st, 22, and March 6th through 7th, 23, during two critical phases of the investigation carried out by Parliament's PEGA committee. The findings marked the first publicly documented case of an active member of a committee being targeted by Pegasus, the notorious spyware operated by Israeli cyber intelligence leader NSO Group that has been used to target political figures worldwide, including the EU's top leaders. Kouloglou told Politico that both hacks occurred during a period of enormous preparation for committee activities. During the October 2022 incident cited by Citizen Lab, lawmakers were preparing research missions to Greece, Cyprus, and Spain as part of investigations into government use there. According to the report, the spyware would likely have been given to the attacker access to Kouloglou's private emails, text messages, and other communications relating to the committee's deliberations, potentially exposing confidential parliamentary work. The second infection in March of 23 occurred as lawmakers finalized the committee's report. The investigative journalist turned MP had traveled to Brussels for the discussion on the final text. Without a doubt, the hacking had to do absolutely with the status as a member of the PEGA committee, Kouloglou said. The researchers are not attributing the hacking to any specific government. Instead, the report identifies overlaps with previously documented Pegasus campaign targeting exiled Russian and Belarus-speaking journalists and activists in Europe. This suggests the operation was likely carried out by NSO Group customer authorized to deploy Pegasus across multiple European countries, according to the report. Basically a third party, so they don't get their hands dirty, right? It could be Russia, it could be anyone. But it is being commonly used by Russians. That's all they're saying here.
Yep.
Whichever entity is responsible for the hacking, the infection could have exposed strictly confidential exchanges amongst PEGA committee members and their staff, and other sensitive and confidential parliamentary proceedings, including a parties under investigation by the committee itself, wrote the report's authors. Sophie in 't Veld, a former MEP and lead lawmaker on the PEGA committee, told Politico that real question is why, and after hundreds of politicians were targeted, including European Parliament President Roberta Metsola, the European Commission has done nothing to stem the abuse or punish the perpetrators. While we're all obsessing with the state of democracy and the rule of law in the United States, there's a complete impunity on this, said in 't Veld. If attempts to target the phone of the President of the European Parliament or members of the European Commission does not trigger sufficient reaction and is not enough to break the deadlock, then what is? So, rampant spyware on our politicians.
Then we're going to stop happening. I know it seems like another day at the office, right? It's just one of those things. It just keeps happening. Yeah. It's not going to stop happening. So I mean, it's like spyware. Oh boy! I mean, the thing about spyware is, as they tell you in any office that's ever had any training about it, is you're the reason that spyware exists because your stupid curiosity. Hey, I won a contest I never entered. You know. Let me click on this email. Let me send this email to everybody. Oh, okay. No.
So I think specifically Pegasus spyware is a bit more intruding than just like you clicked a bad email.
I would think you would still need to do some kind of action, like grab a thumb drive off the parking lot floor or something like
Well,
that.
the thing is, it's specifically a mobile phone designed spyware. So it says here
you're clicking on ads.
Designed to be covertly and remotely installed, so it can be remotely installed. You could be on a public network at a McDonald's and somebody could infect your phone. Which is why you shouldn't do that. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
If you got government secrets, don't use your phone on public Wi-Fi. That's an actual thing they tell you not to do. So yeah, you're not being careful, you shitbags out there. Stop blaming everybody else for your carelessness. This is what I'm saying. You're not going to stop spyware. We're going to prosecute him. Oh, you're going to prosecute him, huh? Okay, good luck with that. Rounding them up after
they could
30 or 40 years. No, you just got to be smart.
Close down the third-party companies that are doing it. At least I know another one will just pop up, but that's
definitely and they don't have nations. These hackers. They don't live in a country. They're on the move a lot.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, sad trombone for all those poor officials who are logging into their hotel Wi-Fi and getting hacked with Pegasus.
And of course, the average American citizen, I'm using this in America, has never had any kind of briefing about hacking or how to avoid it or any of that. They just look at the bullshit that pops up on their phone and they click it. And the next thing you know, they're just getting this misinformation. And
I don't know how it is now, but when I was in high school, we did have information science, which basically just explaining how computers work, how spyware works, how phishing works, all those things. Of course, it's children, right? So they actually have to pay attention to class and actually take it seriously, which is a whole different discussion. Yeah.
Here's something I suspected with the advent of viruses in computers, which has probably happened as soon as the computers were invented, was the people who write the viruses are also the people that write the antivirus software. So how are you ever going to defeat them? You can't. They're the same people.
It's a conspiracy, yeah.
Right. That's what I absolutely believe that's true. The people that write, like the McAfee guy turned out to be a criminal, right? The guy who started it. He had to leave.
He was a criminal because he made it into.
He died, right?
He made it into parasitic adware that you just can't uninstall, and it just eats up your system. I think that's what he got in trouble for. I don't know if it was because he was writing the viruses that he was solving, but it could be.
I think he became an international criminal for other reasons.
Oh, okay.
We'll cover that maybe later. Yeah.
Let's roll the next segue.
I don't know what the fuck he was up to. He'd be slandering this poor guy. At least I mentioned his name.
Reminds me of a song.
Reminds me of a song, that's right. And we were just talking about hackers, which are basically parasites to all of our lives. We're going to talk about actual parasites. The 6ABC, which it must be a New Jersey or Pennsylvania TV station near the border, because we're talking about those two states. Large and growing parasitic infection reported in 17 states, including Pennsylvania and New Jersey. As of Thursday, more than 300 cases of cyclosporiasis. Excuse me. I don't know. It's called that because it spoils your asses. I don't know. Cyclosporiasis, an intestinal infection, have been confirmed. 300 of them. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services told ABC News the state only sees about 50 cases a year, according to MDHHAs, which should be the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, I imagine, the MDHHAs. Parasite usually spreads through food and water contaminated with feces, so wash your hands after you go poo-poo, everybody. Stop that.
You're not toddlers anymore.
Yeah, again, it ain't that freaking complicated. Gee, what's on my hands? Should I wash them? Yes. If you have a question, wash your hands. It only takes a couple minutes. It might save somebody's life or stop an outbreak. We are working closely with our state and local partners to identify the source to the outbreak and is making so many people ill as quickly as possible. Lynn Sufflin in the Michigan deal told ABC News. The outbreak comes as the CDC reports 146 cases have been infected in 17 states, including Michigan. But Michigan appears to be I don't understand this chart, this map. I'll refer to it in a minute. There's 17 states, and as of June 15th, with at least 20 hospitalized. And for this map, it says residents in Pennsylvania and New Jersey are among those dealing with the illness. And then it shows a map. Pennsylvania and New Jersey are in light blue. New York is in dark blue. Illinois and Texas are in slightly not as dark blue. New York is really dark blue. I'm not sure what it means. But Michigan doesn't have any shading at all. We were just talking about Michigan having 300 cases. What the hell is this map telling me? Anyway, that's what I'm talking about, this map. It makes no sense. Don't show me a map that makes no sense. Doctors told ABC News that causes doctors told ABC News that causes usually start in May. Cases, sorry, that's why I'm getting it wrong. Cases usually start in May. This is a yearly thing. So the Michigan outbreak during the time of the year when public health specialists typically would see a rise in cases. However, the number of cases in Michigan is particularly high, doctor said. Dr. Peter Chinhog, his name is Chinhong, not Chinhog. Dr. Peter Chinhong, an infectious disease specialist and associate dean for regional campuses of the University of California, San Francisco, told ABC News in years past, the U.S. used to see many cases of cyclosporiasis acquired outside of the U.S. or from imported vegetables and fruit. Human feces being used on vegetables and fruit, not a good plan. But now we are starting to have more domestic cases as well. Foodborne outbreaks of cyclosporiasis have been linked to various types of food, imported fresh produce such as raspberries, basil, snow peas, muscadine, lettuce, and cilantro, according to CDC. Not cilantro.
That's all good stuff that I like. Raspberries, basil, cilantro, lettuce. I just ate all that yesterday.
Did you?
I think I'm
safe. That sounds like an
Europe.
Awesome salad. The agency further said it takes about 1 week for the time the infection becomes symptomatic, but the time can range from 2 weeks to 2 days, or 2 days to 2 weeks if you want to go that way. Some scientists or some patients do not experience any symptoms, but for those who do, the most common symptoms is explosive watery diarrhea, which is always pleasant. Dr. Zoe Weiss, director of client microbiology at the Tufts Medical Center, told the ABC News. Other systems include cramping, that kind of goes with the territory, bloating. Yeah, when you're about to have a blowout, you do get bloated with gas. Low-grade fever. How do you rank your fever? It's a low grade. Nausea and vomiting. So it could just be anything, right? But I would think go with the watery diarrhea. Just go. Though in most cases, this illness causes discomfort from cramping, bloating, water diarrhea. We're concerned about individuals who may be immunocompromised due to cancer treatment, organ transplant, blah, 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 blah. You might be sick already. You're going to get sicker. Doctors told ABC News people can prevent infection by thoroughly washing produce, cutting away bruised or damaged parts of fruits and vegetables, and refrigerating pre-prepared or pre-cut products. So it's just foodborne, and it's become from factories that are not washing their crap, using human feces on your crops, which I was just like, what? But I guess some countries do that still.
I mean, you can do that, but clean it. That's the problem. They're not cleaning the food after they do that.
Right, how are you going to clean it completely? How do you really clean it completely? I don't even know.
You have to blanch your vegetables.
Yes, and that's a story.
Always do that.
Okay, I have a song about rotten food with spoilage or whatever.
Kind of. Oh, my camera froze. I'm just...
It's about human-borne pathogens.
That's not what I look like right now. Why is my camera frozen?
I don't know.
Camera frozen. You don't see me, but I have my camera open.
No, because I'm looking at my screen where I read stuff. I can only do... I don't split my screen. There's even a reason to do that. I can't think of one. Yeah. I can read one thing at a time.
Fix my camera. There we are.
Okay, so...
My song that reminds me of is Needles by System of a Down.
pull
Which
the
the
tapeworm
chorus
out your
goes,
ass.
yeah, there you go. Hey! Don't forget the hey at the end.
Yeah, it's just for yeah.
All the stomach pains and the walking of the canes when you do come out and you whisper up in your life of tragedy. But I cannot grow to eat the last of me. Oh, when will I be free as this tapeworm? Of course, it's not about an actual tapeworm in the song. It's about, parasitic people in your life that just drain life out of you.
Ooh.
And sometimes you gotta kick them out of your life. You have another story?
Take care of them intestines. Yeah, it's got a Weird Al story from Rolling Stone. RollingStone.com. Carrie Grow. Weird Al has seen your weird AI jokes, and he is not amused. That's right. He don't give a crap about your stupid AI. You can take it and stick it. Weird Al is the funniest guy on the planet who never seems to be taking anything seriously. Always seems to be lighthearted. Even Weird Al Yankovic has limits to parodies he finds funny. For instance, he's not amused by the internet's weird AI jokes. Sure, AI in capital letters looks like Al. But as he told Syracuse.com on Monday, he's not a fan of AI. In fact, he made it clear that you literally cannot pay him obscene amounts of money to feign interest in artificial intelligence. There you go, Al. That's it, man. When the company hawking AI-powered business software that would increase productivity, ever the gentleman, Yankovic refused to name and shame, offered him a nice pile of money to flog their wares in a commercial. He said no. Well, not at first. I said, oh, well, yeah, I'm sure I can do that, Yankovic said. Then a week before we were supposed to shoot it, I find out, oh, this is AI. And I thought, oh, no, I can't be the poster boy for AI. Forget it. So I felt bad about kind of putting out that last minute. But yeah, I'm not down with that. Yankovic, whose intelligence is authentic, actually a very smart guy, is currently on his ongoing Bigger and Weirder tour, whose dates extended into the fall. And while the set list remains sufficiently weird, one thing that's arguably is that the tour itself is bigger, since Yankovic, age 66, scheduled 90 dates in 2026. We did 75 shows this year, and the fans weren't sick of us yet, Yankovic said in 2025 statement when announcing the trek. So we're just going to keep on touring until they are. And here's a whole big long thing about cookies. And that story was really short. Even though they said it was 4 to 5 minutes, they told me a big ass lie. That's why I ended up doing it second. There's your story on Weird Al. And if this don't remind you of the song, I don't know what Weird Al's been doing with his career.
I decided to go with, because AI is tacky, I decided to go with Weird Al's Tacky, because I'm tacky, wear my Ed Hardy shirt with fluorescent orange pants. Cause I'm tacky, got my new resume, it's printed in Comic Sans. Because I'm tacky, think it's fun, threatening waiters with a bad Yelp review. Anyways.
You get extra points if you sing in key.
I think that's the most recent Weird Al I'm sure he's played, I'm sure he's released more things since then, but I think that's the last one I've seen myself.
According to Weird Al, older music was easier to parody, he says. He has more trouble with modern music.
Let me see what I can do here. Release date. His most recent release thing that he did was... Is this in order of oldest or newest? I don't know. Oh, now I'm confused.
Yep. Confusion is fun.
It doesn't give me when it was released. It just says, I just sorted by release date, but it doesn't actually tell me if I'm looking at it from youngest to oldest or oldest to youngest. So I have no clue.
I just have AI.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that because I can do my own research. Let's roll the segue.
That was a joke, man.
He's released too much music. That's
I forgot to tell Weird Al. Mandatory Fun was his last full-length album, July 2024. No, he released the Polka Mania in 2024. There you go.
Yeah, maybe Albuquerque Polka was his last song.
Are we gonna do a spin? I heard a spin.
He did a hot to go. He did a hot to go parody there, and that's a more recent song.
Don't forget he did that movie a couple of years ago. It probably took a lot of his time, right? To get all the facts wrong.
With Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah. And who played Madonna? Who is that?
I don't remember.
Madonna was his girlfriend in the movie. I remember that.
Yeah, Madonna was
Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson ripped off "Eat It" to make his song "Beat It." That's in the movie. It's like totally false. Are we gonna do a spin, or did we do a spin?
I don't know. Was it? It wasn't Rainn Wilson. Rainn Wilson. She was somebody else, I think, in the movie. You have to get reminded of a song for. Yes. Let me finish my sentence.
All right.
Yes,
Evan Rachel
reminds me of us. We are going to our next stories, which are very light news compared to the previous section, which is Prince Harry, who basically kicked himself out of the royal family because they're treating his wife. They were just racist against his wife and his children. He said, "You know what? Fuck you guys. I'm gonna go live in America." But he's trying to bring his children back to the UK next week for the first time in years. It's by Sarah Young on Reuters. Coming out of London, Prince Harry is due to return to Britain next week, hoping to bring his young children on a rare visit to show them the country where he grew up, but where the privacy concerns and family disputes that drove him away are still lingering. Harry, the younger son of King Charles, will arrive with his wife Meghan on next Tuesday, which will be a date that I'm going to have to look up because I don't have a calendar in my brain. The 7th of July, which by coincidence is the same day he will learn whether he has won a hugely expensive court case against the publisher of the Daily Mail over allegations of widespread unlawful behavior. A row with the government over security arrangements for him and his family has also affected his plans, alongside speculation about whether his children will meet with their grandfather as the family seeks to reconcile after years apart. Harry has lived in the United States since 2020 with his American wife Meghan. His children, Archie, who is 7, and Lilibet, who is 5,
I see him all the time at the gas station.
Visited Britain 4 years ago, and Harry has spoken in the past about how he longs to bring them to the country he loves. But the prince, who is also known as the Duke of Sussex, has said that the level of police protection offered by Britain has meant he was unable to bring his children in the past, and there's still a question mark over whether they will come this time. The Duke continues to explore every available option to enable the visit to proceed safely and to give his children the opportunity to enjoy the UK, the spokesperson said earlier this week. During Harry's visit last year, a known stalker was said to have got close to him on 2 occasions. The main focus of Harry's trip is to promote the Invictus Game, something I think he started, by the way, his sporting event for wounded military veterans that is taking place in Birmingham, Central England next year. He is also due to attend a number of charitable engagements. Don't say royals haven't done anything. At least Harry has done something. He will likely be
you went to special forces, man.
Yeah. Anyway. He will likely be asked by the media for reaction once the judgment was revealed in the high-profile court case brought by Harry alongside Elton John and others. At stake are millions of pounds in costs and reputational damage for whichever side loses. Harry, 41, and Meghan stepped down as working members of the royal family when they moved to the US, citing a desire to be financially independent and to escape what they characterized as a media intrusion into their private lives. Over the 6 years since, the depth of the bad blood between Harry and his father and brother has become clear, made public in interviews given by Harry and in his autobiography. The king has barely seen his 2 grandchildren since they were born, but Harry said in May last year he wanted the fighting to end. "I would love to reconcile with my family," he told the BBC in an interview. It's interesting he says this because I can see from the perspective of the royal family that they were like, you put all their dirty laundry out in a book and in like an interview on Netflix or something. So in a way, he's kind of spurned the royal family. He said, those guys treated me like shit. And they, I guess, chose the higher ground and did not argue against it or say anything. They just kind of ignored the drama. So it's interesting that I don't know if he'll get reconciliation since he's the one who kind of started it, so to say. Of course, from his point of view, they started it by being racist towards his partner and children, but months later, he met King Charles, 77, for the first time in almost 2 years, but it is not known what plans there are for the family to see Charles and who is being treated for cancer on this visit. To see Charles, who is being treated for cancer on this visit. So right now he's in the hospital. While in Britain, the family are expected to stay at royal palaces, where there will be security provisions as well as private residences. The government decided to remove automatic police protection for Harry in Britain when he stepped down from royal duties in 2020, a decision he took to court but lost an appeal last year. Asked about what police protection Harry and his family would have on the trip, a government spokesperson said it was their policy to not provide information on arrangements to high-profile figures for security reasons. Great job, you passed the test! The UK government's protective security system is rigorous and proportionate, the spokesperson said. This was reported by Sarah Young and edited by Alex Richardson. I'm not sure if Diane had police protection after the divorce with Charles, but I think if she didn't, that's one of the reasons. Yeah, that's one of the reasons that she probably, totally was not killed by the royal family.
She was dating that Egyptian guy. She was dating that rich Egyptian guy, and he had security.
If she had like an arrangement like the president has or past presidents have, right, where they have they have security, right, for the rest of their lives, she probably wouldn't have been in that scenario, right? She wouldn't be getting chased by paparazzi,
right,
down the road. But anyway,
no, she was murdered. She was murdered, so that's kind of just. I'm sorry,
you're very light drama in the royal family because I know Americans love that stuff.
Right. So I could have picked songs, and I went the royal route here. That's right, man. You think that was an accident? Okay, sure it was. I could have picked songs by Queen or Prince or the Kings, right? If we're going a little royal, or the Kingsmen, or the Royal Guardsmen, or Queen Latifah, right? I could have picked any royals, but I picked the song "Two Princes" by the Spin Doctors. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Because there is two princes, at least in that generation. Queen, Princess Diana had two princes.
I'm sure the current queen is not,
And this song goes, if you want to buy me flowers, just go ahead now. And if you blah, 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 just go ahead now. This is Princess who adore you, blah, 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 blah. That's how kind of song goes. In case you don't know the Spin Doctors, they had like one album and had 3 hit songs, including Jimmy Olsen Blues, which is pretty good. You got a pocket full of kryptonite. That's it, son. I like it. All right. Did I get another story?
Another story.
All right, Dan.
And it's about some more light news. For the climate emergency that's happening all over Europe, right? The heat waves that are causing people to overheat in their houses. If you're going to a hospital in Paris, congratulations! The government is promising 1,800 air conditioners for Paris hospitals.
That's why shopping malls are busy in the United States during heat waves.
Though supposedly the government promised 30,000, so they kind of reneged on that agreement. But at least somebody's getting air conditioner somewhere, and everyone's they're gonna put all the hospital beds in that one room.
Water parks need to become bigger in Europe, I think.
Yeah, well, you can't take people in the hospital to a water park. Anyway, this is on France Info. The recent heat wave has left its mark. Some 1,800 air conditioners are being delivered to APHP hospitals by July 10th. Said on July 3rd, today, from France Interior, which was able to attend the delivery of some of these air conditioners. In detail, 1,000 will have been delivered as of today, and 800 will be delivered on July 10th. These 1,800 air conditioners are an order from the APHP and are not among the 30,000. Okay, so this is not what the government's doing. The government's not doing anything. This is a private, we'll fix the problem ourselves scenario. We'll just spend our own money on buying air conditioners. which, you know, is kind of your business as a hospital, as a business, but way, they tried to get a deal from the government. The government hasn't delivered. On June 26th, in the middle of the heat wave, the Prime Minister had validated an order of 30,000 air conditioners for hospitals, but they haven't been delivered yet. And these are not low-cost air conditioning that are functional only over a few weeks, says Sandrine Wallentek, an executive at a department of the Bicenter Hospital in Val-de-Marne. We are on something that will be able to keep over several years. That is still quite comfortable. For her, putting the air conditioning allows it to be in a refreshed place, which limits risks too. Last summer, in 25, the hospitals of APHP had 1,500 air conditioners. Since then, they had ordered 1,000 more. With these new deliveries, they have a total of 4,300 air conditioners. On Wednesday, which was the 1st of July, the Fédération des Hospitaliers Publics Français, or FHF, warned, if there is no massive investment plan, we will be unable to adapt our structure for climate change. On Thursday, which was yesterday, the 2nd of July, Sébastien Lorcanou claimed from an interministerial crisis cell in Marseille on heat and fires that there were already 6,000 air conditioners and 7,000 fans who were in delivery to hospitals, okay? But they haven't been delivered, okay? They're on a truck somewhere in a warehouse, but they haven't actually been delivered to any hospitals. So, and it's not really helpful. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong page. It's not really helpful to go to a hospital for, like, having a heat stroke, and then it's also hot in there, too, you know?
Yeah.
For example, yeah. But that's my story. It's very short. There's some comments on the story, but I can't read them because they're in French, so I don't know what they're saying in the comments.
Yeah, there's plenty of songs that are hot songs. A song that I guess reminds me of a song is Master Blaster by Stevie Wonder, which is a song about Bob Marley, where he says in the second line, it says, "It's hotter than July." Yeah.
And it's not even July yet.
Everyone's feeling pretty. It's hotter than July, though the world's full of problems. They couldn't touch us even if they tried. From the park, I hear rhythms. Marley's hot on the box. Tonight there'll be a party on the corner at the end of the block. Didn't know you will be jamming until the break of dawn. That's a great song. It's a nice reggae song by Stevie Wonder, tribute to Bob Marley, who had just died at that time. 1980.
And they'll be
very
partying.
sad, but hey, great song about nobody really dies, we just pass over or something like that kind of thing. Swiss glaciers we're going to talk about next.
And I'll give you and associate. We're just going back and forth with our segue today.
That's a tough one, man. Maybe we ought to put a Dr. Seuss or something on there, like a Dr. Seuss, do a Cat in a Hat or Green Eggs and Ham or something. I don't know. I do not like green eggs and ham. We can do a version of that for every story. I don't know. Reuters.com is talking about the hot planet also, Swiss glaciers. All that yodeling is knocking down all them glaciers, I think. No, it's global warming. Swiss glaciers rapidly losing protective snow and punishing European heat wave. That's right. This is from Obergam, Switzerland, the center of the world these days, apparently. Snow on Swiss glaciers disappeared weeks earlier than usual this summer under the glare of European heat wave, pitching the Alps into another year of heavy ice loss, scientists say. Researchers say that on June 29th, the Rhone Glacier in southern Switzerland reached its so-called Glacier Loss Day, the moment when snow accumulated over the winter. It has melted away and the glaciers began shedding the ancient ice below. Matthias Huss, director of the Glacier Monitoring Switzerland, said 3 months still remain this year for ice melt that has taken decades or even centuries to build up. This is a really worrying situation, he said. This year, 2 heat waves that followed low winter snowfall helped accelerate Glacier Loss Day to its second earliest date on record. In 2022, it occurred 3 days earlier. So it had been June 26th. Of course, there's been a leap year since then. During June's heat wave, the melting water from glaciers across Switzerland could have filled an Olympic-sized swimming pool every 6 seconds for 2 weeks. I don't know how that helps you comprehend this, but it really helped me. It just seems like, yeah, well, that water's melting. The size of an Olympic-sized swimming pool. I have no reference between Olympic-sized swimming pool and a regular-sized swimming pool or any other size swimming pool. That's always funny that they think people know what that means. We've done this before. It's crazy that people think it's melting a lot of water really fast. The glaciers are a very bad state at this time of the year, Huss said. He is almost as critical. We are almost as critical as in the record-breaking year of 2022. Huss said one monitoring site at Rhone Glacier recorded a loss of 1.5 meters of ice during 2 weeks of extreme heat, or 5 feet of ice. 2 weeks. Okay. It's going to be really warm to do that. German tourist Harry Block. Tourists visiting the glacier retreats and said changes were impossible to ignore. German tourist Harry Block, who has been visiting the Rhone Glacier for 50 years, became emotional at the sight of them. I can cry, he said, describing how the glacier, once 80 meters high, has shrunk. Here you see climate change. This is climate change. There's your quick story on the glaciers and how they're melting, and they're just going to be gonzo at some point. And then what? Weather's not going to stop getting cooler because we decided it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to keep getting hotter. You can't talk to stupid people and tell them anything because they're stupid. So I don't know. We're stuck with it. They're just stupid people. It's just half of this planet is just stupid damn people. They're just going to be stupid no matter what you do. Half. I hope it's not even half. It should be 10%, but it's way more than 10. Let's have an association with that. Short story before we get on to the Epstein file updates.
I associate this with, remember doing quarantine where we had to like shut down planes and, businesses had to shut down and people weren't going to work because they didn't have to go to work. We all did like work at home and stuff and, all those businesses basically turned the power off. And there was an actual reduction in climate change. Scientists were like, animals started coming outside. So, I don't know why we didn't. I wish we could have just stayed that way, work from home, get rid of your car. That would solve it, sadly.
I don't know. The economy.
Stop driving around.
For you, so it was.
No, but I'm just saying individuals. I'm not talking about like truck drivers who deliver food. I'm talking about like I'm driving to work to stay in another building and do my job on a computer. Like there's 10 million people doing that every day.
AI's taking care of that. You want to have a job. All right. Anyway, USAToday.com has a story about these Attorney General Blanche. If you don't know this idiot, the acting Attorney General, because Pam Blondie, if you remember her, I call her Scam Blondie. She was fired, and probably should go to prison. This guy should go to prison. But Todd Blanche, don't forget, is the one who gave Ghislaine Maxwell a puppy. Yes, you're a convicted child molester. Now here's a puppy. Blanche, nominated as Attorney General on June 8th by Stinky, faces a deadline July 2nd in federal court to publicly release a batch of secret July 2nd was yesterday. A batch of secret files about Trump's old pal, the now dead sex offender, if you believe he's actually dead. Not sure that's actually a thing. I need actual proof. I want DNA evidence compared to his brother before you show me he's actually dead. Sorry, I don't believe he's dead. He was an Israeli double agent. I don't think he's dead. He knew too much. And he probably has blackmail tapes that were triggered by his death or something like that. Blackmailers aren't that stupid to just kill themselves. I don't believe he's dead. There's your second conspiracy for the day. Blanche must, by the way, this is a conspiracy. This ain't something we're conjuring up as a conspiracy. This is an active government conspiracy to suppress files. Blanche must know that Trump, who he previously represented in criminal and civil cases as personal lawyer, not conflict of interest there, doesn't want any more Epstein files released and has called the huge sweeping controversy to just go away. Oh, it just go away. The laws of this country should just go away, according to the acting Attorney General. And Blanche must also know that Congress, which passed the Epstein File Transparency Act in November with just one Republican voting against it, will be watching what he does next as a Senate Judiciary confirmation hearing in just 2 weeks away. If they confirm him, seriously, get serious. Get serious, you pieces of shit. You can't confirm this guy. You've totally, I don't know, I realize ever since Mitch McConnell got there, he's abandoned any independence at the Senate. But this is just, seriously, you passed the fucking law just last year. U.S. District Judge Emmett Sullivan ruled in June in a lawsuit filed in April by independent journalist Katie Fang. Go, Katie Fang. Don't ever stop. That Blanche has conceded that he is in violation of the Epstein Files Transparency Act by not responding substantively in court to any of Fang's arguments about unreleased documents. So he's just ignoring it. Like some
Your
kind of kid, like a little kid,
is
putting his
glitching
fingers in his ear, going, blah, 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 it's gonna go away, blah, 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 it's gonna go away. I'm sorry, what?
Your camera is glitching out. I can't see you.
Again?
You're just random colors.
Just tap it. Oh, that didn't work. It doesn't work to plug it back in necessarily. There, now it did, huh? Oh boy, technical glitches plenty. And it's not working. Okay, one more time. I don't understand this shit. Just work. There you go. All right. I hope that members of Congress put some pressure on him for this. Don't bet on it. I know Republicans aren't. Brendan Ballou of the Public Integrity Project told me the extraordinary thing from this whole litigation is at no point has the government tried to argue that it followed the law, which is pretty shocking position to take.
Yeah.
Fang, a former Florida prosecutor, is represented by lawyers of the Public Integrity Project. What happens next? Trapped in a triangle of Trump, a federal judge in Congress, call it a safe bet that Blanche will seek to serve Trump, install the judge in Congress. That's what Blanche always does. This guy should be disbarred, put in prison, locked in chains, and never heard from again. Seriously. Trump picked Blanche because both men have made it plain that they see the job of Attorney General as representing and defending one American, and that is old Stinky. Fang's lawsuit in April called for the Department of Justice to remove any unlawful redactions from the Epstein file, to restore documents that were posted online and then removed, and to release currently hidden documents. In May, Fang asked the judge for a preliminary injunction to force the DOJ to specifically produce unredacted versions or explain why it would not, of 8 emails, 2 DOJ documents, and FBI interviews. Fang also asked for a review and production of foreign language documents that had not been released and a log of the legal reasoning behind all redactions. Blanche now has to release that information yesterday or make a valid legal argument for why you can't. Yesterday is already gone. The redaction log looks like all kinds of trouble for Blanche, the DOJ, and Trump. The Epstein Files Transparency Act requires the creation of a summary of redactions made, including a legal basis. They need to publish a redactions log that they were required to create and update it concurrently and show they can't do that. To show why they can't do that. That's a really significant obligation on their part. Judge Sullivan's June 25th order noted that Epstein Files Transparency Act required the redaction log to be published more than 6 months ago. 6 months ago, it was supposed to have been published. The DOJ is still going after judges. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Oh no, judges! We gotta lock them up for having some kind of thing in their past. The DOJ is a criminal enterprise at this point. It has reviewed more than 6 million documents in the Epstein files, and at least 3.5 million of them. The Public Integrity Project estimate that 200,000 documents were redacted. If Blanche follows the law and publicly releases a log with the legal reasons for all those redactions, then people like Fang and groups like Public Integrity Project can go to court and challenge that reasoning. Fang seems to be doing very well exactly in that case. Exactly that in this case. This is unfortunately the Department of Justice has earned no amount of trust or good faith on how they've been making these arguments, not just in this case, but in other cases, Malou said. And so it's going to be incredibly important to understand what is the basis for many thousands of redactions that they've made. Blanche could produce that information that Fang wants, or he can present a new legal argument why that information can't be reduced, or he can ask the U.S. Court of Appeals or District of Columbia for an emergency stay of Sullivan's order. A DOJ spokesperson on June 26 denied Sullivan's finding that Blanche had conceded to violating the Epstein File Transparency Act, adding this, Judge Sullivan's perverse interpretation appears to be focused on driving misleading headlines. Yeah, whatever, you piece of shit. Whoever this DOJ spokesperson needs to be taken out and shot immediately. This is not a perverse interpretation. You were told in so many words, you had the release without redactions unless they were appropriate, and you didn't do that. You did the opposite. Stop acting like the judge is wrong. The judge is not wrong. He's right. You're wrong. The spokesperson also accused the judge of trying to make DOJ break the law. Shut the fuck up. So don't expect this to drag on as Blanche, who's a criminal, battles transparency in a fight he can't win for Trump. He wants all this to just go away. This fight brings back all into view, and it raises again serious questions about Diaper Donnie's relationship with the sex offender. His relationship was Donnie was the sex offender, and Epstein was providing him with, fun. That's their relationship. Yeah. This is the most obvious thing in the goddamn world. We keep acting like it's not obvious. Trump has repeatedly claimed inaccurately that he was totally exonerated. That's not a thing. You have to go on trial to be exonerated. If that were true, why would Blanche have a problem with a judge or journalist trying to make him follow the law? Trump's team fights transparency when they feel they need to protect that big, stinky, orange, bloated, syphilitic, Adderall snorting pile of shit. There's your story. About that big.
Also, Before Coffee does not condone actually killing anybody unlawfully. Anyways, this I show sheet. This with bureaucracy. There's a reason. I know it's annoying, everyone. I know governmental bureaucracy is annoying, but the reason it exists is to stop people from being this so blatantly corrupt, right? The reason they have to report, we redacted this because of this reason, is that people know, oh, you're redacting it for that reason, not because you're trying to hide something about the current president, for example. So the fact that they haven't, exactly the problem. They haven't identified why they redacted things, which means they must be hiding something. That's the only conclusion you really can come up with. If you haven't told people why you've redacted it, you're probably hiding it for the wrong reason. So that's my association, bureaucracy. It's annoying, but it exists for a reason.
Here's what they did. Corruption. As soon as Trump's got in office, they went and found all the files they could, and they did a search. Look for Donald Trump's name, look for anything that refers to Trump, and redacted all of it. Anyone you can find. And the AI software they were using wasn't perfect, so a lot of it leaked out. And when it leaked out, they brought it back in and suppressed it some more. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Just a shame. Where is...
Yep. Just a shame that we live under the... We live under the rule of Vladimir Putin. Who runs our country, run our country since 2017.
I saw a post somewhere on social media at some point that says something along the lines of, the problem with the Democratic Party right now is they're constantly, or at least the older Democratic Party, not the younger, the older ones. The establishment Democrats, I believe is called, is that they're constantly saying, this is not normal, how Trump acts, this is not normal. Okay, are you going to do anything about it though? No. We're just going to tell you it's not normal, this isn't normal. Anyways, that was somebody's post.
That's
do something. Anyway. Yeah. Do something about it. Don't just say, hey guys, this isn't normal, I don't accept this happening.
But there's an old saying, when your opponent's hanging himself, don't do anything. So that's maybe what they're doing, right? We're going to win the election if we just keep quiet. A lot of them, right? So, and it doesn't work in their own primaries, by the way. They get beat.
Sarcasm is our next segue for my culture segment.
What could we possibly do? Well, the French had a solution. I'm sorry, what were you doing? I was yapping. What'd you say?
Sarcasm.
Right on.
This is my culture segment about Parales, which if anybody here is from my channel, you probably have already heard about it from our fellow friends. Tommy's been playing it, Gandhi's been playing it, Brick has been playing it, but we're still going to talk about it. This is the creative life simulator game that could rival The Sims. This is by Guardian Staff. For 26 years, the life sims genre has been dominated by one series, The Sims. Originally designed by Will Wright, creator of SimCity, EA's Virtual Dollhouse series has grown into it was originally Maxis, and then EA bought Maxis, but its Virtual Dollhouse series has grown into a $5 billion or 3.8 billion euro or pound empire with constant releases of new games, expansion packs, and collaborations, cementing its place among the best-selling video game franchises of all time. But things are beginning to change. New contenders are emerging and turning heads of even loyal players in the Sims community. Doesn't help that EA kind of keeps on shooting themselves in the head with the decisions they make. But anyways, the most recent and promising of these is Parales. Once the solo project indie designer Alex Masse, who is now employing a small team of developers, released on the PC games platform Steam in May of 2026 as an early access title, meaning it's technically unfinished and is looking for user feedback. It sold 250,000 copies in just 8 hours. On the first day, the concurrent player count hit 78,603, not that far off Sims 4 all-time peak of 96,328 in 22. While Paralives is a small project, this success is understandable. Following the news of EA's controversial acquisition by Saudi-backed business consortium, some simmers are looking for what they see as a more ethical alternative. But this is only part of the game's appeal. The real draw is the game's focus on creativity over realism, the quirky details that made many fans fall in love with Sims in the first place. Paralives is a life simulation game in which you puppet master a virtual world, controlling the lives and homes of your simulated people, called Parafolk, much like you do in The Sims or fellow newcomer Inzoi. Players can create and fully customize characters, adjusting the hair, skin tones, height, body shapes, and more without gender constraints, and even add realistic features, such as cellulite, freckles, birthmarks, and medical apparatus such as hearing aids. Even in early access, there's a welcome breadth of representation and body inclusivity on display, especially compared to Inzoi, which drew criticism for its lack of diversity. Yeah, you're either if you try to make like a kind of a fatter character, you're either morbidly obese or you're skinny, and that was the only option in Inzoi. It was kind of a big problem. It's like, why isn't there like a nice thick option, you know? On the other hand, while EA has improved the representation of The Sims' customizable options, this push has generally come in the last few years, and there are still requested customization features such as hijabs, present in Paralives, and rely on creators' mods. With your household created, you can then move your Parafolk into a home. Paralives' building and decorating tools are impressive, and not simply because of the range of architectural options. Furnishings and detailed knickknacks such as scatter cushions, coffee mugs, and houseplants. Instead, it's the quality of life features that stand out here and highlight the limitation of its competitors. While The Sims building restricts where items can be placed, you can't place that lamp on the floor, it needs to be on a coffee table. Paralives lets you put items almost anywhere, giving you control over the height, length, and width. Yeah, you can make a really tall lamp on the side of your wall if you want. So if you have a set of curtains that can't quite fit your window, you can widen them until they do. There's also a focus on personalization, with items featuring text such as gravestones and doormats, editable to your liking, picture frames that you can upload your own image into, and the core section of medical clutter that includes a wheelchair, sign language book, and sanitary products. However, what may irk some about Paralives is its art and animation style, which has proven somewhat controversial. Rather than the hyper-realistic approach Inzoi took, Paralives features heavily shaded comic book style animation reminiscent of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This may not be everyone's taste, but it's called cell shading, I believe. This may not be everyone's taste, but it lends itself well to the game's quirky gameplay design. Paralives is full of weird little details that make it feel more akin to The Sims 2, which I think is the better Sims. And maybe that was because it was the first Sims I played. I did play Sims 1, but I think I played Sims 2 the most. So I'm biased here. And Sims 3, then modern iterations. From the way your character butters bread or fries an egg, to the secret town hall maze and a random meteor shower, Paralives isn't afraid to lean into absurd. By comparison, Inzoi can feel too sterile at times, and the Sims series has gradually reduced these oddball features with each release. Remember when you could play with Drew Carey? No, I don't remember that. But that sounds fun. Paralives' early access release couldn't have come at a better time for the life sim. In 25, EA announced it agreed to a $55 billion buyout deal with a private equity firm, Silver Lake, investment firm Affinity Partners, headed by Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. So another red flag, not only Saudi Arabia, but also bought by Jared Kushner and Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund PIF, controlled by Saudi Arabia's crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, who we talked about yesterday on our richest royals list, believed to have orchestrated the assassination of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The news understandably sent ripples through the Sims community, known for its LGBTQ plus inclusion. Some players boycotting the franchise over Saudi Arabia's severe human rights restrictions and fears over how the acquisition could impact the game's queer content. This is further compounded by an increasing frustration of some in the community that the recent expansion packs, which cost £35 each, which is probably more like $40 each, have been short on content. Here's $40 and you get a new refrigerator. Wait, that's it?
Wow.
By contrast, Parales is from an independent studio who could get bought out anytime, because that's usually what happens to independent studios, but let's hope not. With development heavily influenced by community feedback and no corporate involvement other than themselves, Paralives began in 2019 as a solo project by Montreal-based designer Marseille, with development funded through crowdfunding platform Patreon. We love Patreon here on Before Coffee. Through which the developer in 2020 was receiving nearly $40,000 a month from almost 9,000 Patreons.
Yay.
The team, now known as Paralives Studio, has now grown to about 15 people, and the game is priced at $33.50, with additional downloadable content set to be released via free updates. So they're not even planning on releasing DLC and expansions as of yet. According to the developer's roadmap, the content will include changing seasons, customizable pets, gardening, and more, all of which are available in The Sims 4 through paid expansion packs, and they're giving it to you for free in Paralives. While Paralives may be a bit rough in places, it is still early access. Its community-driven focus and quirkiness hark back to the time when The Sims felt like it belonged to the players. Life Sim fans who missed the absurdity of The Sims 2 should perhaps consider moving in. So there is your little ad for Paralives, which I've been enjoying my friends playing on Twitch, myself.
Right on.
And getting into all sorts of hijinks, like, adopting 8 babies for one sim, or one para folk. 8
babies. That's not realistic,
babies.
Right?
Yeah, it's not realistic. That's the whole point, right? You can do something incredibly unrealistic, like have 8 babies.
How about a realistic Sims game where you just sit around wait for stuff to load on your computer for like 10 minutes?
I think that is a thing you can do. Yeah.
Okay.
There's definitely a lot of sim games where there's way too many load screens and menus that you have to wait for.
I had to go to AI for sarcasm. That's really some pretty good sarcasm here.
Well, it's bad when you can't be sarcastic naturally.
It really is not my thing, so I have to go to the internet for it. The pre-order promise, this is their first sarcasm. Nothing says I value my wallet quite like pre-ordering a game 3 months in advance so you can be the first to beta test a broken, unfinished mess on launch day. That's pretty good.
That does happen a lot.
The gamer diet, here's some more sarcasm. The gamer diet, a delicate balance of highly caffeinated beverages, neglected laundry piles, cold pizza, all carefully optimized to sustain your 12-hour marathon of Cyberpunk 2077 or Call of Duty. More.
You feel like I don't even know what those games are.
Patch cycle. You buy a game. The game.
Yeah.
Two more sarcasms because they're actually pretty good. I don't know. The patch cycle. You buy a game. The game requires an update. The update requires a restart, and the restart requires a degree in computer science to configure the optimal graphical settings. And the last one is the friendly community. The friendly, in quotations, community, logging into multiplayer to instantly receive unsolicited advice from a middle schooler about how you need to get good while they loudly complain about being killed. So there's your more sarcasm sample.
Mom, I'm trying to win at this match on Call of Duty. You need to go clean your underwear. Your pants.
That pile of clothes is moving. Are you sure The cat's not in there. Yeah, I think the cat's in it.
I mean, one of my most favorite kind of memes is like the two girls who are like on a live stream or something. They're way too young to be on the internet, but they're on the internet or a YouTube video or something. Their mom swings the door open. She's Scottish and goes, "Who forgot to flush the toilet? There's shit in the toilet. Nobody flushed the toilet. Disgusting." And then the two girls are like, "This is embarrassing. Our mom just like outed us as not flushing the toilet, you know, and just leaving." Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite one, and that's a great example of just.
Good for mom.
A good example: children shouldn't be on the internet because this could happen to you.
Yeah. Let's not have this public display of our sloppiness, right?
Mm. All right, let's get into this day in history.
Video.
The one you sent me earlier, right? Like yesterday.
Yesterday, yes.
Yeah.
This day in history. We're going on to.
Oh my goodness. Re-rolling is what we're going on to.
Heck, man.
Something.
Scroll.
A limerick. A haiku.
Scroll, you bastard. Scroll. Scroll. Scroll, I tells you. Scroll. Okay, July 3rd.
Yeah, make sure you're on the right date. I have to re-roll this wheel 3 times because it's giving me associate, reminding me of the song over and over again. Finally, a haiku. Hey, listen to me. Okay, haiku is our next
as we hold this show into the station for the week. All right, on this day, 249 years ago, 251 years ago, George Washington officially assumed command of the Continental Army during the American Revolution several weeks after being appointed to the post. Yes, the Revolutionary War was in full swing. In 1856, on this day, the U.S. House of Representatives voted to admit Kansas statehood under the anti-slavery resolution known as the Topeka Constitution, despite the opposition of the Senate and President Franklin Pierce. Oh, they wanted Kansas to be a slave state because they were morons. 1962, Tom Cruise was born. Happy birthday to Tom Cruise, one of Hollywood's most popular leading men. How popular is he? I think he's popular among executives. I just don't know if he's that popular among humans. Tom Cruise kind of just plays Tom Cruise, if you ask me. That's kind of who he plays. Known for his clean-cut good looks. Oh boy, this guy's really got something for Tom Cruise. Did you know that Tom Cruise is known for his clean-cut good looks? I had no idea he was known for that. And versatility. I had no idea he was known for that. He seems like he's playing the same guy every time. But hey, that's just me. But he's known for his versatility, Tom Cruise is. He plays them 18 Mission Impossible movies, right? And Top Gun. But he's made, I'm not anti-Tom Cruise. I just think he's overblown and he's kind of full of himself. 1967, just weeks after, he is overblown. I mean, what is he really good at? I mean, in a risky business, I'm confused by everybody thinks he's such a great actor. It just doesn't sway me. It doesn't sway me into his. I don't see it. I think it's Tom Cruise playing Mr. Hotshot every single time. 1969, just weeks after being fired from rock band The Rolling Stones, British musician Brian Jones joined the 27 Club. He was found dead in a swimming pool. He probably OD'd on something and drowned. I don't know the official coroner's report, but he found dead in a
25 stream streak, cows. He's watched 25 streams in a row.
Awesomeness. 1971, another death at the 27 Club. Hell of a coincidence. 2 years later, the very same day, singer-songwriter Jim Morrison died at the age of 27 in Paris. So 2 years after Brian Jones basically became the second member of the 27 Club, the first being Robert Johnson, and there was no 27 Club at the time. Jim Morrison became the fifth member, because in between 1969 and 1970, Jimi Hendrix died and Janis Joplin died, and they were both 27. And let's not forget Pigpen. I think Pigpen died around that time too. 1976, an Israeli commando squad led by Dan Shamron launched a rescue of hostages held by an airplane of hijackers in Entebbe, Uganda, which was a very successful raid. No casualties. 1985, at least no hostage casualties. 1985, the comedy Back to the Future, directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Michael J. Fox, was released in American theaters. So that was 41 years ago. Back to the Future, and we still haven't hit any of those marks. We still don't have hoverboards where you can fly through the air. Shit don't exist. Thanks again, Hollywood, for failing to predict the future. I blame them completely. It's all Hollywood's fault. 1988, the USS Vincennes shot down an Iranian jetliner over the Straits of Hormuz, killing all 290 people on board, and that was a big fucking mistake. Which was the passenger plane, which was in Iranian airspace, had been incorrectly identified as a fighter jet. So a complete fuck up by some asshole on deck killed a bunch of civilians in an airplane. And I'm sure we paid them families handsomely, but it never should have happened in the first place.
Money don't bring your loved ones back. That's true.
As a sidebar, I know a Marine, a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps. I was a civilian at the time as a contractor, but this guy, he was a frog man. He was a guy that did deep diving, and he was one of the people that retrieved the bodies from this actual disaster. So yeah, he was not mentally, let's say, okay with his job. He's like, man, I got nightmares. I'm pulling little children out of the bottom of the what was it, Persian Gulf? He didn't stay there longer at the unit I was with. I think he retired. 2013, following massive demonstration against his rule, Egyptian President Mohammed Morsi was removed from office by military action. I'm sure Egypt is much better. I don't even know. It was the Arab Spring back then. Didn't last a whole shitload a long time. This featured event, 1863, the end of the Battle of Gettysburg. Yes. On this day in 1863, which was more than 7 years ago, the Battle of Gettysburg ended with a crushing Southern defeat and marked the turning point in the American Civil War. The fighting began 2 days earlier when Robert E. Lee led Confederate troops to Pennsylvania, tried to attack Washington, D.C. from the north. That didn't work. The climax occurred on July 3rd with the spectacular failure of Pickett's charge, where, Lee had this great idea. I know, Wilson waves of bodies at them cannons. That'll stop them. That didn't work. Confederate troops tried to break through the Union lines. Lee was forced to retreat the next day. Gettysburg was the bloodiest battle of the war, with more than 50,000 casualties. And the tragedy of this is that they let him get away. They could have crushed his army, could have totally slaughtered him, and they just let him retreat to the south. And they fought for almost almost 2 years. Think of it that way. Almost another 2 years. Because it wasn't only until 1865. It could have been ended right after Gettysburg, but let's not crush that army. Let's let them retreat. That was a bad decision. Our featured event today on July 3rd, Quebec was founded. The Samuel de Champlain founded the city of Quebec, the first permanent European base in Canada. Its splendid views and a unique character were noted early as 1842 during a visit by Charles Dickens. I don't know if Charles Dickens made it to the world, but apparently he did. He called Quebec the Gibraltar of North America. I think that's because Montreal.
They share it with another country. Is that why? Quebec is French.
No, I think it's because
Gibraltar
Montreal.
Spanish.
Montreal. No, it's just because Montreal, the city, the biggest city in Quebec, is actually an island. I think that's probably what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And check our featured biography, Czech composer Leos Janáček. Born on this day in 1854, leading exponent of musical nationalism. We can do without that shit. Musical nationalism. Take that stuff and shove it up your ass.
Well, they specifically needed musical nationalism because Czech people weren't people. Nationalism can be good if you want to be a country, and people are like, no, you're just part of. Because before that, Czechia was just part of the Holy Roman Empire. They didn't have an identity.
Wow.
Yes.
And there was a town in Czechoslovakia that was just totally wiped out by the Nazis, and so when the Nazis were retreating, they just went out and found all the German citizens and slaughtered them, which is really unfair. But hey, that's war. Our What happened to other birthdays? Elizabeth Edwards, born in 1949. She's an American attorney and author. Stavros Spyros Niarchos, Greek businessman, born in 1909. Albert Korzybski, 1879, American philosopher. Charlotte Perkins Gilman, American author and social reformer, born in 1860. Never heard of any of these people. I wonder if anybody famous
cover
was
your
born in this
European
day.
history, because I've heard of all these people.
Bunch of totally anonymous people. Okay, more biographies. Maybe there's somebody.
You don't know about
Elizabeth Edwards, former wife of John Edwards. She died in 2010 of cancer. It's her birthday. She was born July 3rd.
You touched your cable, I guess. Again.
No, I'm scrolling on my computer. All I gotta do is touch my computer sometimes. See? Straighten it out. All right, let's see if it works still. Yeah, it's just, they've screwed up their birthday things. They put it on another day, and then you find out that the people they put on page 1 are not famous. The people they put on page 2 and even page 3 or 4. No, they're more famous contemporarily. Like, I know more about Elizabeth Edwards than any of these other people.
Yeah, but they're trying. I think they're trying to teach you about people you don't know about. That's the whole point of it. To be like, hey, have you heard about this guy? You should learn about him.
Yeah, I'm not. On May 28th, July 3rd is the day that Pancho Gonzalez died. It's not his birthday, but there you go. It's supposed to be birthdays. I have no idea why they're putting death days on there, but hey, whatever. He said birthdays, but that's not his birthday. So that's Pancho Gonzalez, American tennis player. National Days today: National Compliment Your Mirror Day, National Chocolate Wafer Day, National Eat Your Beans. Eat your beans. Boy, that's a lot of beans. It's every variety, I think, in that picture. National Fried Clam. So that's everything for today. American Independence Day's tomorrow. We're independent as a collectively doing whatever Russia tells us to do. As far as that stretches, we're not independent. We haven't been since Stinky the Clown got in there. But anyway, they're celebrating it with a hot celebration on the National Mall that nobody's going to because the heat index is going to be 100. So we're all skipping that shit. Maybe watch the fireworks once it cools off. Last night, I will tell you, last night was oppressively hot here.
Mm-hmm. It's summertime.
What? Outside, and it was sticky and muggy and disgusting at 11 o'clock at night. It was really disgusting last night. So it's getting worse and worse. So one of them heat domes, I think. So that's your sarcasm, your songs, your jokes, and I'm about to have a haiku for Friday. The Friday News Jump, July 3rd, 2026. And before, chocolate wafers, beans, and fried clams. Eat your beans.
Not steamed hams, but fried clams.
Yeah, eat your beans, it says. In case you were confused about what to do with your beans, eat them. There you go.
And here you go. I mean, you should have celebrated this guy, Alfred Korzybski, a Polish-born American scientist who invented semantics, our favorite thing to argue about.
Oh, semantics.
Semantics.
Did he invent pendantic?
No, just the semantics of, indexing words as man versus man, and by dating as Roosevelt versus Roosevelt, the two different Roosevelts, right? The semantics of that, semantics of what is man, as in human, or man as in the gender man. Right. That kind of semantics.
As in when Neil Armstrong said, "That's one small step for a man," right? Yeah. Everybody thought he said that's one small step for man and one small step for one huge leap for mankind, which basically mean the same thing.
It's redundant. Yeah, it's redundant. Yeah.
But in his radio broadcast, the word "a" was clipped. It was clipped by the radio, so it sounded like he didn't say "a man," but that's what he said. One small step for a man is what he actually said, but it was clipped by the radio to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
That's my little tangent for you.
Right on. And a haiku.
Hello, Nico. Thank you for coming back for my dad. I'm glad you enjoy my dad so much, as I do as well.
Thank you. I'm enjoyed by somebody. I'm not really merely.
I enjoy
wasting
you
my
as
life.
well. Otherwise, I wouldn't do a show with you. But anyways, we've got 3 haikus for this day in history.
You weren't left out. You're
Thank
just
you
part
for
of my
3
family.
streams.
You're almost required to.
Oh, I don't count. Okay. Thanks.
No, you're almost required to. Almost required to. I just say totally. Almost. Okay,
Oh,
sorry.
no. Here's my 3 haikus. In field stained with loss, Union stands, a hero's breath, hope rises from the dust. Of course, about the ending.
Hey.
The ending of the Civil War. Well, basically the ending, but not really.
Yeah, the
Echoes
beginning of the
resound.
end.
Nature's voice in chords of heart. Yan Tiek takes flight for, giving Czech people some national pride instead of just being another district that's part of the Holy Roman Empire or whatever. And finally, beans in colors bright, nourishing the world with cheer, health on every bite. So if you're vegan, or even if you're not vegan, go eat some beans. I'm going to be eating beans today because I'm eating home alone today. So I usually make refried beans and red rice. That's what I do. My I guess my nostalgic homemade meal when I, because I can't get Mexican food here. So that's the easiest thing for me to make is some red rice and some refried beans. No. I can't get masa anywhere. So, I mean, I can, but I have to order it.
You make flour tortillas. Flour tortillas.
If I'm going to make my own tortillas, I want to make it corn tortillas. So I just won't. I love corn tortillas. Best. But I'm not gonna get the
They just don't hold
I'm not
together.
gonna go grind my own corn.
They don't hold together for bread. They don't have cornmeal. They
hours.
don't have corn flour there. That's hard to believe. Nah.
They have it, but I have to buy it from like a special store, right? It's not in the. I can't just go do the
It's
my
time for you
corner
to
store
start a
and buy
Mexican food store. Start a Mexican food store and import
I
all
don't
that
think
stuff.
I don't
Or
think
import,
I
export.
would. I think I would first need to get a loan to start a business to do that. So
Import export
I don't want to
company.
do
There
that.
you go. Import export. Just be the middle man. You don't have to do nothing. You don't have to sell it. You just you're in the middle.
I wish it was that easy. In our
It could be.
international
Check into it.
UN observances, we got International Day of Cooperatives on Saturday. There's
Look
nothing
in the mirror.
today, but Saturday, we International Day of Cooperatives, which is funny because we're kind of talking about that. If you're talking about import exporting, co-op farmers, people who do stuff together and strengthen social cohesion and bring communities together by saying, "I made lettuce. I'm going to sell you my lettuce for your tomatoes," and then the tomato guy is selling his tomatoes to the onion guy. And then, hey, here's some eggs. And then we don't need to use money because we just trade goods for other goods.
Right.
That everyone has food.
Co-op we belong to is when we had a farm. We all pooled our resources to buy feed, right? Because there's farmers that make silage and there's farmers that have cows, and we just marry them up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cooperatives are a democratic model of ownership rooted in solidarity, participation, and sustainable development. They are founded on simple but powerful idea. People can come together in freedom and solidarity to meet shared needs through enterprises that they own and govern democratically, instead of just like, give me $10 and then I have to give this to a bank, and then a bank has to be involved. And now the bank owns my farm, and then they took my money, and they took my land, and now I have to go out of business because I don't even own my own land anymore. And that is
Here's
what I
another one.
consider
Here's another one for
complaining
you.
about factory farmers.
When Kraft shut down their dairy in Antigo, and the farmers got together and bought it and made it a co-op dairy.
Exactly. Very, very good. And actually, you should learn about this guy because he's actually lives in Maryland, but he has a chicken co-op and a pork co-op and a beef co-op, and he's a Black native guy. So, and it's called but he only sells to Virginia, Maryland, and I think maybe even Delaware or DC. I don't know that area. He only sells in the area he lives.
Because
storing.
Yeah, all dairies are local because storage, transportation, it just spoils if you go long distances.
But that's what he's running. Blackbird Co-op is what it's called, and it's basically they control the delivery, the storage, and the manufacturing production of all of their food. So they're doing the chicken slaughtering. They're the ones storing the eggs and the chickens in their freezers in a warehouse somewhere, and they're the ones driving vans all over Maryland, Virginia, and DC, right, to get it to your house. So. But it is $26 a chicken, but that's what you're paying for. You're paying for locally grown, delivered to your house chicken. So Anyways, there's my random ad for this person.
Right.
Not sponsored by Blackbird Co-op. And this has been Allison here from the Netherlands. I totally forgot to download the mic drop moment. I downloaded it, but I didn't slot it in. That's what I did. I downloaded it, but I didn't slot it in. I gotta put it in OBS. But this has been Allison here from the Netherlands.
While you do that. Oh, Friday. So Friday.
Take that long for me to do. You don't need to sing
Friday.
This has been Allison here from the Netherlands and Roger from the East Coast of the US as we finish off another week, the first half week of July, and we try to survive this warm, hot planet by delivering you news before the weekend, so you don't have to worry about it. Thank you everyone who is supporting us on Patreon and Before Coffee supporters. And if you're not already following or subscribed, please do that, because the higher that number goes, the more people can see our anti-AI news. So follow us, Before Coffee Podcast, on all platforms, Before Coffee Podcast. And supposedly you started a Substack that people can read if you really care about Roger's opinion. Okay, well.
No, I haven't answered anything. I started it.
Okay.
I haven't.
One day you can see Roger's thoughts on random news stories that he's going to talk about, I guess, on his Substack. You want more of Roger?
My days are spent outside. I'm inside. I was basically sleeping. So.
But we will see you for our Mucking Fun Day on Monday. Have a good weekend. And here is our mic drop moment.
Okay. Look right here. Right here.
That's really quiet. Okay,
let me ask you a few questions. Let's talk about restaurants. Would you be willing to wait for a really good restaurant a half hour, or would you just eat somewhere kind of crappy because you could get in right away?
What do you think? The
I
look
would
on
definitely
people's
do
faces
the
when they
latter
walk in
one.
is like, is this, are you going to eat or to stand quietly?
Have you ever uttered the phrase, "get off my lawn"?
No.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I've said, but I didn't mean like old man, like, get off my lawn. I meant more like, this is my property, so get off my lawn.
That's exactly how old men mean it too, by the way.
You have early onset grumpiness.
Early onset grumpiness.
Early onset grumpiness, EOG.
You are grumpy. You don't have it early onset. You have the full
Who are
disease.
those people? That's the, I mean, it's a real question.
It was early onset. You just didn't notice it. You're not a diagnostician. You didn't notice.
Oh right, of course. I'm not this guy.
Even.
See, he's got it.
Your life is going to change forever.
Is there anything I can do?
Your life is gonna change forever.
You seem kind of grumpy. Are you a grump?
Yeah, but I'm a very old man. I'm 83.
83? He doesn't look 83.
No,
Ed Bagley Jr.
She didn't even pick up the phone half the time. She gives people a hard time. Changed their number so many goddamn times. Text at all.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.